Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 6 Plus Plus. Tom, very lowest of men here, and I'm here today with some Seer Council goodness for you, having a look at the Aeldari book and running through 5 great Aeldari combos that you should try. The Eldar book is absolutely incredible. Having a really good time with it. I think there's an awful lot you can do. Obviously, Ynnari is very strong right now, but I think there's a bunch of play in the other detachments, all sorts of interesting things yet to be discovered. And if you're a dedicated Eldar player, I think it's a really fun time to play the book as well, because whilst powerful and capable of great things, it's also not like madly broken as elves sometimes are, and you can just get into the game and enjoy yourself with it. So I've picked out 5 of the combos I've been enjoying in practice games and testing to encourage you to give them a go. I think they highlight a few of the different detachments, they highlight a few of the different units and combos. There are plenty of Phoenix Lords involved, don't worry. And I think there's an awful lot to be gained from it. Before we get into it, please do hit like and subscribe and leave us a comment. If you want to support us financially by becoming a YouTube member, we at 6 Plus would love to have you as well. Obviously, we have a massive Discord, so come and join that, get involved. There's a huge Aeldari chat, lots of people nattering away about the faction all the time. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to start with the big man himself. I'm going to start with a combination that plays around Eldrad Ulthran, my absolute favourite Eldar character. So this combo is a plugin of Eldrad, a Warlock Conclave, and Storm Guardians. It's a fairly expensive package for what you get. It's kind of going to come to sort of in and around 250 points, but it's a really potent little tool, and it offers an awful lot in games. I particularly like it in Seer Council for reasons I will unpack in a moment. Essentially, what you're getting is Eldrad himself, who is a very useful character, gives you an extra CP. In your command phase, he gives you a +1 to wound against a visible target within 18. So when he does step out, he can help you absolutely hose down something in front of him. And he's got a reasonable little bit of damage in his own right as well. Eldrad goes with the Storm Guardians. This gets you 2 fusion guns, 2 flamers, which really go up a level when Eldrad's handing out +1 to wound. It gets you sticky objectives. It also gets you a bunch of combat, so they can also go in and fight a target as well. And then finally, you're plugging the Warlock Conclave into this as well. And you're getting a whole bunch of flamers here. They're destructor psychic flamers, which actually stack up in damage and strength. Stack up in strength primarily when you plug several of them into a unit together. So the result here is a unit that, once it moves out into the open, is capable of hosing down a target with flamers, doing quite considerable melee damage as well. And it's also got a very nasty Overwatch. I think personally it's best in Seer Council because it hands out Psyker buffs to help you run the detachment and trigger off all the different stratagems. And the big thing in Seer Council is also that you can teleport this unit around. So it's very fun to sticky objective your home field, then teleport the unit out to your expansion, sticky that, teleport it somewhere else. You can try and hand out Eldrad's +1 to wound in ways where you're cutting angles, so it's hard for them to hit Eldrad back as well. So it's a very obnoxious unit in Seer Council, especially late game. This isn't an early piece. This is a piece that's going to buff and support for the initial stages of the game, and then push out later on when things get a bit safer. But the Warlock Conclave, the output is deceptively deadly. It's very nice comboed in here where you've got a couple of flamers from the Storm Guardians as well, fusion guns, and Eldrad's +1 to wound. You just get an awful lot of punch and damage out of it, and it's really nice as a late game kind of haymaker sallying forth once the line looks a bit more secure. So massive fan of this. Eldrad brings an awful lot actually to almost all the detachments. He is expensive, you're paying like 110 points, but Eldar loves CP, so having some CP and some +1 to wound, definitely very, very nice. The next one takes it over to a Ynnari place. Boo, Ynnari. Everyone's playing Ynnari these days. But I think one combination I've been really enjoying in my games is the Archon and Cabalite Venom with the Borrowed Vigor Enhancement. Now, this is a really obnoxious unit for opponents to deal with in Ynnari. The Borrowed Vigor Enhancement gives your Archon 7 attacks, so he's coming in with 7 anti-infantry attacks, AP2, damage 2, capable of blending up a squad of Space Marines on his own. You put him with the Gun Cabalites in a Venom after splitting, so you've got something to sticky your home field. You've now got a little offensive piece as well. The Venom absolutely loves Star Engines. If you get a decent roll on Star Engines, you can send this Venom out, push onto your opponent's sort of safer terrain pieces and objectives, drop the Archon and Cabalites on the other side of the terrain, blast whatever your opponent's got there, whether that's scouts or flayed ones or trying to stage up a transport. Use the free grenade, because the Archon has a free strat as well, and then jump back in the Venom. I think it's a really good unit to have in Ynnari because you can't meaningfully deal with this without killing the Venom first. Like, if you want to actually stop the Archon and the Cabs causing damage and inflicting trouble, you need to kill the Venom, which means you're either going to get a trigger point for the Incarn to come over there and get involved, or you might if they shoot it, you're going to get a trigger point for lethal intent, at which point the Archon and Cabalites could simply move away. And also, if one Cabalite dies getting out the Venom, which is mathematically likely, the unit can access fight first via the Ynnari rules as well. So the Archon is then capable of getting full rerolls to wound because he gets that via the detachment rule, and via his day sheet rule. So he gives that to the Cabalites and himself. So he becomes really, really blendy at that stage. And he can run around being a little terror. I really like it as an early skirmish piece. I think it's an awful lot of fun. It's not always easy to use correctly, but I think you get a lot of nice anti-tank shooting off the cabs, free grenade from the Archon, which is nice. The Venom has a considerable reach, is obnoxious, and it's a mini game. If your opponent wants to solve, is going to give you ins with the Ynnari special rules, and making the opponent trigger these is one of the challenges when you're playing Ynnari at the moment. So yeah, absolutely love that package. Next up, we've got something I've been playing around with lately, which is Fuegan and his murder brick. So this is not subtle. This is 10 fire dragons with a fire pike, led by Fuegan in a wave serpent in aspect host. This unit can kill God. It is absolutely absurd. Fuegan gives the unit an additional 6 inches of range, so you've got 18-inch melter guns. You've obviously got your melter range triggering at a much greater distance as well. Fuegan's gun and the Exarch's gun becomes 24-inch range. And obviously comboed with a wave serpent, you've got a package here that can move up 14 plus d6 plus 1, still disembark, shoot, and then in aspect host, which is where I'd prefer to run it, you have the option of spending a CP to put that unit back in the wave serpent. I think this unit is effective if you can get multiple activations out of it. It is a lot of points, but it is extremely dangerous. Later game, it can push out, use Fuegan's melee, and actually start being an offensive piece as well. The rerolls in aspect host mean that it's actually good into a wider range of targets than just tanks. It doesn't need to be shooting tanks. It can also put a lot of hurt through marine bodies and elite bodies as well. Fuegan's obviously got his beam profile gun, which comboed with the aspect shrine tokens in a 10-man. You can use 2 of them, can get a lot of sustain going on, and he can do absurd things with that. I like it as a control piece. It's very hard to push against an Eldar army that is packing this. Any vehicle-based armies or offenses are just going to disappear if they get too close to it. And the key is just to recycle it, use it a couple of times, pick different things off, and then push it out again later. It's quite a unique damage piece in terms of the absurdity as it can pull off. This is capable of killing 3 to 4 tanks in a single activation if the opponent gives you the in to do it as well. And I think what I like about it is that it means that all the buffs in aspect host go further. You can get crit 5s, you can get lethals and sustained. You can get ignore cover. There's the various different buffs. Being able to get back in the transport is really, really nice for them as well. And it just means that even, it's very hard for the opponent to sort of casually deal with a unit like this. And a lot of the things people are thinking up to deal with 5-mans of fire dragons, especially on foot, especially in things like Ynnari, simply do not work on a unit like this. So it gives you a real sucker punch and a little bit of a curveball. So I highly recommend playing with it. It's a hell of a ride. Really very enjoyable. Next up, we've got something that's a lot more staple. We're seeing it a lot out there, but I think it's very important to shout it out, which is the Autarch Banshee MSU. You're seeing this a lot, particularly in Ynnari, but I think this is a staple of Eldar lists right now, and it's very important to have something like it in your Eldar lists because this gives you insurance, right? Eldar don't like melee pressure. They don't like being pushed too aggressively. Autarchs and Howling Banshees, little 5-mana Banshees with an Executioner and then an Autarch. You get 7 attacks at damage 3. Coming off the Exarch and the Autarch, you get a bunch of anti-infantry damage 2. You get fights first. Crucially, you get access to free stratagems, which means you can have these nestled around your units on the flanks in the center. And if the opponent does pressure you, you can intervene for free. It means you've always got that option. It means it keeps it resource cheap. But then also the Autarch themselves are great. The fusion gun they have is really nice between, again, if you're on the offense rather than the defense, you can use a free grenade off the Autarch, then a fusion gun. He's capable of killing tanks on his own. Extremely fun. He gives the unit free rerolls to advance, so he helps the Banshees be even quicker. The advance and charge is really nice as well. These are fantastic units for just applying defensive holds on the board and then turning that into offense at the right moment. And it's relatively cheap. It comes in about 165 points for that package. You can tool them up with enhancements and stuff, but I just think they're really nice. Like a couple of MSU 5s with Autarchs in a list is really nice, and I would happily run 3 if the points allowed for it. So I think really, really good as a sort of defensive linchpin. We're seeing a lot of use of the Incubi of Rainbrick, and I do think that's a really cool unit. But there's a lot more flexibility across a much wider range of detachments with the Autarch Banshee MSU, and I highly recommend it. Particularly good in aspect host as well. where again you can really juice up their output to a considerable level. Final one. It wouldn't be me talking about Eldar if I didn't try and get Maugan Ra into it. So let's talk about Maugan Ra. Maugan Ra Dark Reaper brick in Seer Council. So what's the concept? Dark Reapers shoot good. You've seen Dark Reapers, you know they shoot good. They're a consistent, across a game shooting piece that will chip away with damage and get involved in the game. If you take a 10 brick with Maugan Ra, then you are gaining an additional 6 damage 2 shots with Dev Wounds, which are really nice because you can, in the brick, have 2 additional Shrine tokens, which means that you can be pretty much guaranteeing, 6 to 8 mortal wounds from Maugan Ra onto a target, which is really, really nice. He does have a little mini mortal wound explosion. I don't think that's too important, but he also triggers a battle shot on his target at -1 after he's shot it, which is nice, lets you combo with other attacks you're springing elsewhere. Now, I think this can work in Aspect Host or War Host, where you can recycle the unit back into a transport. But I think, and this is, I'm going to shout out Vic VJ because he was the one sort of putting me onto this originally. In Seer Council, you've got a lot of fun play with this because the whole idea with it is that you teleport it around the edges, getting perfect angles on the things you want to pick off, and then you're using the Lone Op 18 strat in Seer Council to prevent the opponent from counter-attacking and shooting you. Now, it does depend what you're shooting against as to how effective this is, and you're going to want to keep it at a distance. Maugan Ra's gun's a little bit shorter range, which is one of the reasons he's slightly less optimal in some ways, but I think he's a really nice piece to have. And actually being able to slap mortal wounds through a target, Seer Council has a lot of ways to do mortal wounds. I think there's some real power in that. And being able to exploit the teleport and the lone ops, just keep this unit shooting across the game and keep finding the angles you need is really, really nice. So I think this is definitely the place to try him, but I suspect there's other things. You could probably have him in a Falcon with a 5-man, getting those wound rerolls to try and trigger off dev wounds that way as well. But I think, anything that lets you reuse Maugan Ra over multiple turns gets you towards starting to get the value from him. So this one perhaps a little bit more experimental and expensive, but I am a big fan of it. And that sort of head rush moment of teleporting Maugan Ra and doing like 8 mortal wounds to something is definitely going to feel good. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting 6 Plus. I'm going to be doing some more general Aeldari 101 content quite soon, once I've got through the CSM stuff I'm working on right now. But do let me know if there's other content you'd like to see from us. Obviously, please do hit like and subscribe. Please do leave us a comment. And we'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye. Lowest of Men out.